real high-class bout. It's on!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on Boss Rush Games. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
Also joining us is Colonel Panic himself, Joe Wilson.
Hiya.
And last but not least, the Deepstone Cryptian himself, Mr. Josh Finney.
Hey.
Josh, you basically live in the Deepstone Crypt now. Let's be honest.
Dude, I have done 4 clears since Monday night, and that's not counting the nearly 12 hours that Joe and I spent in contest mode on Saturday. So that's basically the only video gaming I've done this week has been the Deepstone Crypt.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I've been playing a lot of Destiny too, but we'll get there. We'll get there. How's everyone's Thanksgiving? Everybody good? Everybody full? It feels like about 3 months since we did this.
Yeah. My Thanksgiving went good. We didn't have our dinner until Friday. But
I like to imagine.
We went and had Munchie's Pizza for our actual Thanksgiving, which is a local place. But
I like to imagine Jesse's Thanksgiving went like this. They bring the tray out the turkey's supposed to be on with a big silver lid on it, and they pull the lid off, and it's just his Series X.
Yep. Yeah, it's a Series X with 2 turkey legs one on each side of it.
I thought for sure you were going to say it's a wheel of cheese.
Oh, that's just the appetizer.
Oh, man. Yeah, Thanksgiving was really simple. We just went over to my mom's, and she made breakfast for all of us, and we just kind of hung out there, and then came home at like 1-ish, and that was it. That was it.
So, quick round the horn. Everyone, French toast or pancakes? Go. Or waffles. Waffles.
God.
French toast for me.
I mean, Listen, I've got a philosophical answer for this. Okay, some days
this was A, B, or C.
It's a French
Joe, look what you started.
It's never A, B, and C with Josh.
Uh-oh.
Some days it's a French toast kind of. You eat some fluffy sourdough bread. You make it up. It's nice. It's fluffy. It's delicious. You get some powdered sugar on there. Other days it's a Belgian waffle day, man. But let me tell you, my friends, there is nothing better than Eggo's apple cinnamon waffles. Truly not a better frozen breakfast item.
You have lost all credibility as soon as your preferred breakfast item is Eggo waffles.
No. Listen. I'm cheap. I've made no secret about this in my time on this show. I'm very cheap. I like Eggo waffles. I like apple cinnamon Eggo waffles better than any other frozen breakfast item. There's not a better frozen breakfast item.
I like the strawberry waffles.
There's not a better frozen breakfast item.
Oh,
Corey.
Oh, no.
Jesse failed to bring one to the table.
Look, my mom made homemade buttermilk waffles.
We're not talking homemade. We're talking
I'm talking homemade.
My laziness.
My mom made waffles this for Thanksgiving, and I had 4 of them, as well as quiche and sausage and hash browns and a banana, and look, waffles.
Corey had more breakfast than I did for Thanksgiving dinner. I want that on the record.
Look, I didn't eat lunch, and then we had a stromboli for dinner. Okay, so these waffles were great. They didn't even need syrup. I just put a little bit of butter in all the little pockets, right? Little butter pockets, and just put some sausage and eggs inside. Ate them like tacos.
But you need the butter syrup pockets.
No.
See,
if it's a good waffle, you do not need syrup.
I eat them for lunch. So
look, if you have a good waffle, you do not need syrup.
That is true, and so the correct answer is, if it's a dough, like a dough waffle, it's a dough waffle wins. Outside of that, it's French toast and pancakes.
Yeah, pancakes are easily the bottom of the barrel here. I think that's what we're establishing.
I would also say that pancakes are so easy to make, and I hate making them at home because I feel like the cleanup of pancakes is just like way worse.
Yep.
Because I mean, French toast is easy to make too, but yeah, it's
delicious.
definitely not as much to clean up after you're done.
I feel like the French toast leftovers heat up better also.
Who has leftover French toast?
Yeah.
When it's only two
when your
people
eyes
in the
are bigger than
house,
your
you got
stomach.
leftovers, buddy.
No.
No, you're just
I
not
don't.
trying hard enough.
No,
See,
I'm
the
trying
thing-
to be on a diet.
The thing with waffles
That's the
for
guy
me,
drinking copious amounts of beer.
the things with waffles for me is I tend to take like a good Eggo waffle and then I put peanut butter on one and then jelly on the other, and I make a peanut butter and jelly with the waffles, and it's so good.
Jesse,
It's seriously-
I've got diabetes listening to you.
It's so good though. It's better than any peanut butter and jelly, normal peanut butter jelly you can ever make. It's so good.
I'm that guy who doesn't like peanut butter though, so you're not talking to me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I mean, hey, Reese's Pieces, baby. Reese's Pieces.
yeah, yep. Corey's missing out on a whole world of. But that's fine. But he's
Doesn't
not.
sound like he's missing.
You're not.
Yeah.
Look,
I
I'm
mean,
good.
you're not. You don't like it, so it's not gonna. Nothing's gonna make you like something you don't. So
That's fair. You know, I'm
money.
I'm happy with my selection of treats. And
Even money at some point can't make you like something that you don't.
again, you're not trying hard enough.
I would love to test that out.
Who's giving me money?
I take that back. I
could think of a lot of things that money wouldn't make me do.
I would say that if you have cold hard cash in front of you, the right dollar amount, I would do pretty much anything.
Oh boy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We should move on before we get into specifics.
Yeah. Speaking of food, our pal Greg Osterman III writes in
Jeez.
about another food item. He says, "New one for the Axe Mafia." Is that what we are?
Maybe.
Okay.
You know, keep. Let's try again next week. What's your stance on burritos? What is your go-to burrito? Someone who just had a burrito yesterday. I am all about the burrito. Okay, it used to be like, okay, good Chipotle is good Chipotle, but there's a place by my house called Casa del Rio, and I have not been to Chipotle in probably 6 months since I found this place. Okay,
Yeah.
it's that good. If I want a burrito, that's where I'm going. Casa del Rio Express.
Yeah, we've got a couple of good Mexican restaurants around here that make a pretty good burrito. But honestly, I love burritos so much that I'm even down with the 56-cent bean and cheese frozen burritos that you can get, and you throw them in the air fryer or something like that, and get that outside really crispy and crunchy, and keep the inside nice and cooked. And I'll eat that any day. I think I like either spicy, like the spicy beef and cheese kind of like burritos for the frozen ones, or but like going to the restaurant, yeah, definitely Qdoba's is really good. I like their burritos.
Nice.
I'm going to let Joe go next.
Uh-oh, I feel like Josh doesn't like burritos.
I'm going to let Joe go next.
Uh-oh. My burritos are pretty uninteresting because usually it's a like a black bean base in most of them, since I don't eat meat. The Chipotle has that Sofritos one now, which is like the plant-based protein. It's pretty good, but I find that it's too, I want to say, soggy. Like there's too much moisture in the burrito with those.
I agree. I
so
get that
normally
burrito bowl.
Yeah, burrito bowl would be fine with that, but normally it's just like black beans, rice, and then the salsa.
I honestly think Qdoba is just so much better than Chipotle. I don't know. Like, do you guys have Qdoba?
No.
No, you don't.
We
Okay.
did.
Well, it's
I don't know if
very
there's anybody
similar. Yeah, it's very similar, but like I just feel like all their ingredients and the way that they prepare it is just so much better.
So
I I
I'm pretty sure the Cadoba that I used to go to closed down because of a health code violation.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah,
Well,
ours is
Cadoba to me is in the middle of
ours-
DFW International, so I ain't going there anytime soon.
Yeah. See, and
Let's see if
ours
it's
is
still
like
on.
ours is like a hospital. That place is always clean and just really nice looking and like all the food's right there in front of you, so you can kind of see how they're preparing it, as you go down the line. But
So burritos. Guys, it's,
God,
it's
this
no
is
secret
bad.
that I'm the most southern. I'm the most southern of our group. I live in Texas. There's practically a good burrito on every corner. Okay, you go to the first place in South Dallas or like Central Fort Worth, and if you cannot pronounce the name of the restaurant, you're in for a good time. That being said, though, I am actually a fan of the breakfast burrito more than anything.
Hmm.
I like to scramble me some eggs. I like to dice me up some potatoes, not hash browns. Dice me up some potatoes, real thin, real nice in little cube shapes. Put them in there, sprinkle a little bit of cheese, chop up and dice up some bacon and some sausage. I'm not picky. I like to have both in there. And you better have the biggest freaking tortillas you can find because that baby's going to be overloading.
yeah.
And then I'm good. I'm happy. The key to every good day is a good breakfast burrito. They make
I'll honestly go to
Texas. They're at our fast food establishments.
I'll go to my grave still saying that I think now this isn't comparable to what you're talking about, but when it comes to like breakfast at the fast food restaurants, I'll pick Taco Bell's breakfast over any of the rest of them.
What a burger, baby! What a burger!
We don't have
burgers up
one.
here.
We don't
Breakfast-
have one,
breakfast
so
taquitos. What a burger, baby!
Let me tell you though, this morning I made breakfast tacos this morning, by the way. Speaking of, scrambled up some eggs, cooked some turkey sausage, right? Trying to be healthy. Put a little bit of cheese in there. Wrapped them up, made some half-assed taco whatever, but they were good, man. I'm telling you. It's when you go to in the morning for breakfast. So hope that answers your question, Greg. I enjoy a good burrito.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it's probably my favorite.
If you don't enjoy a good burrito, we simply can't trust you.
That's fair.
Mexican and Chinese food are like right at like top tier one.
Could you imagine a
food.
General Tso's burrito?
Ooh, that would be good.
Oddly enough, there's a place where I live called Mad
It
Mex,
exists. Okay.
and they do like a lot of like Mexican fusion food.
Oh, okay.
And they have, let's see, I'll bring up their menu now. There's one that I had the other day that, I mean, granted, it was plant-based, so I think it was tofu, but it was, crepes. Where is it?
It's getting to the point though where plant-based foods are getting to be really good. Like I like that Impossible Whopper was really good. The Impossible Burgers and stuff like that. The stuff you can get in the store that's, meat substitute is really good. I've used some of it from the chickens to just because I like to try to not eat actual meat when I get a chance.
So this was crispy organic tofu tossed with sweet soy citrus sauce, topped with cilantro, bean sprouts, avocado, and tomatillo avocado salsa. So it wasn't quite a General Tso's, but it's definitely, there's like a Asian fusion happening there.
Yeah.
And it was delicious. Didn't really taste like a taco at all or a burrito necessarily, but it was good. Anyway, so if you're ever in Pittsburgh, check out Mad Mex. It's not really Mexican, but they are mad, so it's an alright place.
Sounds good.
Nice. Deshaun Malone writes in and says, "Hey y'all, hope you had a good Thanksgiving." I did.
Thank you.
Got a new hat, by the
You
way,
too.
Ooh.
during Thanksgiving because
What's
Wow.
my parents
Must
didn't.
be nice.
It's a new Browns hat.
It doesn't look brown, it looks gray.
It is gray. The front is brown, where the dog is on the. Anyways, because my parents didn't see me for my birthday, so they gave it to me during Thanksgiving. He said, "What's next gen life looking like for you right now? How are y'all enjoying your boxes this far in?" You know what, Jesse? We're gonna go your way first since you're the newest
Yeah.
current gen person. I couldn't think of
Yeah,
something
I
clever.
mean, yeah, I got to I started Watch Dogs Legions on, on my One X, and I've definitely got to see the amazing difference, like that ray tracing brings to a game. Even, just that alone on that game makes it so much more lifelike, and it just feels better, and there, like it's like actually makes you stop and look at, like buildings and stuff and things like that normally you don't care about as much, more, because there's a reason for it. Like, it draws your eyes to things, like, definitely a lot more. So, like, yeah, I mean, like, just that, like, ray tracing alone, and just watching even videos of like Miles Morales, and like some of these other games that are kind of taking advantage of that are out right now. It definitely is a well, much needed improvement to things that really does make the games just look so much better, in my opinion. I've been playing, a lot of games that aren't using any of that stuff. But it's still so much better of a way to play it, just not having to wait for, loading as much, and
I mean,
things like that.
That's like the big point, though, right? Is like all your
Yeah.
old games play better. Like, in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the same boat as you, but continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It was
Yeah,
just like-
no, and like I was in the message thing, speaking of Destiny. I was playing Destiny 2, and like started in the new, like when you start the new season, they always have like cinematics that they play that are kind of introducing you. And I am not kidding you. Like, it was literally just freezing and not wanting to play when I was playing it on my One X. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Like, it was so bad, and it would keep on breaking up, and the sound would break up, and everything. Like, it was just so bad that I was like, I really want to see this and watch it, but I can't, the way that it's doing it right now. And so luckily I could, once I started it up on my Series X, I got a chance to watch it all the way through, and it played perfectly fine. Like, for whatever reason, that those cinematics, like, and it's really weird because like all the in-engine cinematics, like where it's just, like the where you're actually seeing your character in the engine, and it's doing stuff, that was working perfectly fine on my One X. But it was just the video cinematics that were just being really weird for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean, that, so the little hitches and things like that, I've yet to start the add-ons. I want to get to Control and finish the add-ons and stuff. I've been kind of waiting until I got my Series X to do that, because like all the Alan Wake stuff, I've been so excited for that, but I've just kind of had to, like, stunt my excitement, because I'm like, okay, I gotta wait a little while yet here until I can really get excited about this. But so yeah, and like I've just kind of been playing all different kinds of stuff. I think I got like 20 games on mine right now, plus like all my, like HBO and Netflix and all those kinds of things. But I'm sitting at 20 games right now, and I think I have a little bit of space left. But I think that's going to be fine, because for me, I think what this console is really going to improve for me is to actually try to finish things, instead of just being able to download 300 games on a hard drive and then never play any of them. You know, that's what I do right now,
Mhm.
or did with my 1X, and I've really got to break that habit. And not having as much space, I think, for now is going to hopefully break that habit. Because yeah, like I've been playing Rise of the Tomb Raider, or Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the third one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I've been playing that, and man, you know, like I mean, it's not really, there's not a whole lot that it's doing as far as next gen kind of things like ray tracing or anything, but like it's just nice like having that game running, you know, great. And I, you know, like the loading and stuff is nothing. And you know, like I started it 3 days ago and then came back to it today, and it's boom, like, you know, it just instantly takes, you know, picks back up from where I left off, you know, because of the you know, like just being able to have games sitting in the background waiting for you to come back to them, you know. So so I've, you know, all the features that it's had to offer, I've already taken advantage of those, and it's like, honestly, like it's a great console. Like I love it. I love the little touches that this generation has brought so far. You know, mind you, some of them we haven't gotten a whole lot of out of it yet, but you know, that will come very soon, I think. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it too. Like honestly, I've been mostly been playing Destiny, and like just the load times and getting into spaces faster and getting into matches of Crucible and Gambit faster, and just everything being the load times essentially are just changed to the whole, like the way I play the game. And
yeah.
I did play my first few games at 120 frames a second though, by the way. And oh my God, dude, playing Halo Reach at 120 frames a second, it's a different game. Like it feels like a different game, and like the field of view sliders make it feel different. Like everything just makes it feel different. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like no, Halo doesn't need a sprint button playing at this. Like it just felt like fast. It felt so fast.
Yeah.
Gears feels really fast too and responsive. Even on my big TV in the living room, which is where I've been playing the last week, because I haven't had to do anything. It's just like, man, I can't wait for Destiny to get to 60 frames a second, because I don't know if I'll ever go back to 30 on anything. I do have to say that Halo, like moving that fast, was like, it was really jarring at first. Like it was really jarring. Because I think it may be because I've been playing so much Destiny that going from Destiny to Halo from 30 to 120 frames a second is really jarring. But I gotta say, man, I feel like this is the Series X is what they wanted the 1X to kind of be, and that was like the first step to where this box is. And I'm loving it, man. All the old games that just run better. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I played the first 2 hours of, and playing Assassin's Creed at 60 frames a second is different too. Because I probably put like 60 or 70 hours into Odyssey, and playing Valhalla is just a real different experience. So, but yeah, like you said, Jesse, playing the old games with the load times and everything, it just changed the game for me.
Yeah, and Forza Horizon 4 too. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Like playing that at 60 frames and you know 4K or whatever has been really really nice. Like I for the first time ever, I think prefer that game now playing in what is it? The crap.
Performance? Like a mode?
No, the
cockpit mode?
Cockpit mode, yeah. Cockpit mode, where like it actually is like what you would see if you were driving in your car, you know, like kind of like that field of view. And I actually absolutely love playing that way versus the third person kind of that I normally would.
Yeah.
I actually prefer that now.
Yeah.
So
you guys? What are you guys thinking about your boxes? Any problems? Any vape smoke coming out of there?
I've had a problem with mine actually.
Oh no.
It's something that's only started popping up the last couple days. It's not like a major problem. Like I'm not going to write Microsoft an angry letter and march on their headquarters. But my controller becomes disconnected randomly.
Oh yeah, I've had that issue too a couple times where like the controller says it's on and the Xbox says the controller's on, but like it's not responsive.
No, so mine, it flat out disconnects.
Oh.
But it only does it when I'm at the end of a session and I go to turn off my Xbox.
Oh.
I'll turn the Xbox off, and I've noticed it happens if I hit the power button on the actual Xbox, is typically how it happens. The controller, like everything will shut down, and then all of a sudden the console will turn back on. Or like the controller will be pulsating and it's desynced. Now when I go in and I have to hard reset the console at that point, and then I'm able to reconnect. I cannot reconnect until I hard reset, but it typically unsyncs my headset. It only started doing it once I started using a wireless headset. So I'm almost wondering if there's just too much interference, since my console sits a foot away from me on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost wondering if it's because there's just so much interference in like this little 12-inch radius that may be doing it. But I've seen several people online say they've had the same issue as me. So it's not a big deal, but really, really feel like Microsoft should have been like, all right, we're going to get rid of the Xbox connectivity stuff, except for the old controllers, and switch everything else to Bluetooth. They really should have done that this time around, and I'm absolutely baffled as to why they didn't do that. It would have allowed for a more stable connection, I think.
I've also had a really weird issue where like I turn my Xbox off and I go to plug my controller in, and when I plug my controller in to charge it, it just turns the Xbox back on.
That happened when I plugged my headset in too. I don't know what it is, but I mean, like, if that's the biggest problem I have, like, it's not overheating, there's no vape smoke coming out, it hasn't eaten a disc yet, I haven't had to factory reset mine or anything. Like,
yeah, dude, I'm running Skype off of mine and using it right now, and it's literally like there's no heat coming out of the top of it at all. Like I've been surprised just from what I've heard, like people saying that it gets really warm at the top. But I've played a lot of games, and like I haven't noticed I would say it's cooler than the heat that comes out of the back of my One X.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, though, like, I've genuinely, with the X and with the S, we've had no issues. It's fantastic. It's the first time I've ever bought an Xbox on launch day that hasn't messed up yet.
Yeah.
I haven't put a disc in mine yet. I'm afraid that mine's going to be the one with like a broken disc drive.
Yeah, I'm absolutely terrified. I'm probably going to test it out on like a movie or something I don't care about.
Yeah.
I go find my old Ratatouille Blu-ray or something and shove it in there.
Whenever I read that thing, I put one of my Spider-Man 2 soundtrack inside of it, and it was fine. It didn't do anything.
You're really
negative.
Asking for it.
Yeah.
Putting Spider-Man's.
Well, it was
a Sony product in it. Oh.
Pizza time.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, if it really was going to shit out, it would be if it put a Sony product in it. Then it'll just attack the inside. But no, it worked. It's fine.
My Xbox has been fine, though. I've only played Destiny, Call of Duty, and Halo. I have a very wide variety that I play. I installed a bunch of other games on it that I will never touch.
I know. I filled up both hard drives with games, and I'm like, I would like to play you someday when I have time and am not playing Destiny. When Destiny dies, you will be the games that I play.
No.
I've tried out a few other things now at this point that aren't just Destiny, because I wanted to see what an actual like next gen resed game actually looks like, since Destiny's not there yet. Horizon 4 runs fantastic, like Jesse said. Particularly the Lego expansion is just the level of detail is incredible in that. But the one that really shocked me how much better it looks than its last gen counterpart, I gotta switch that over now, than its Xbox One counterpart is Gears 5. Gears 5 is incredible. I started playing it the other day. I got through the first act, and holy God, that game looks and feels so much better on next gen. It feels like a completely new game. It feels like a new engine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it feels like it handles differently on the Series X, and I mean, part of that is probably a psychological thing. Like,
well,
oh my
they
God,
did say
like,
they got
the
responsiveness down by like what, like a half a millisecond or something. Like it
feels so much more on point, both for your AI and the enemy AI. Like, I noticeably had a more difficult time with the AI because I feel like it was just more on point, which is great. Like, I'd rather have that, frankly, but also I felt like my shots, when I was actually like pumping the trigger or hitting reload, it was happening in real time. That was really nice. It's just the upgrades to that game are awesome. Like, I don't know how many more of those we'll get from Microsoft for their Xbox One games, but if they're on that level, I'd be okay with a lot. Like, if games like Quantum Break were to get them, I would 100% go back to them.
Well, even if you just look at the like comparison images, like the fact that a lot of those things now in the environment in Gears 5 are no longer 2D images baked into the surfaces and are actual 3D. I mean, that alone will make it look so much different.
I will tell you right now, the preview images, because I looked at the preview images, I was like, oh, this is all right. Like, cool.
Yeah.
The shadows are a little bit better and stuff. It doesn't do it justice. Like, when you actually play that, you're like, oh my God, like this feels like we have crossed a threshold. And this is really the first generation where I think backwards compatibility has been something more than just a novelty. Like, it actually matters now on both consoles. The games genuinely look, play, and feel like they were supposed to.
Well, and
I love that I can reach all the way back to the OG Xbox, and I can play a game like Black, and it looks and feels incredible.
Yeah.
It came out 15 years ago.
Did you play Fusion Frenzy yet? Because I did.
I absolutely will not be playing Fusion Frenzy.
Oh man, I wish they'd add online multiplayer to that. We could play that all together.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be awesome.
Gross.
I know. I love that game.
Or, I could just
Playing Mario Party.
all right, so
There's no Waluigi. I'm not playing.
all right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna get into the news, and then we're gonna answer some questions, and if we have time, we can talk a little bit about what we've been playing. Although I think most of it's just been Destiny.
Kind of did. Well, and we kind of did with that. Talking about our Xbox.
Saving Europa.
Yeah. So Aaron Greenburg, this story started going around because he posted a picture of a hedgehog on his fleet. His new thing Twitter's doing, the fleet. And he posted a picture of a hedgehog, and now everybody's thinking that they're gonna partner with Sega again about something. So that's cool. If they were gonna partner with Sega, why didn't he post this picture with a blue controller? You jerks. You cowards. So people still think the Sega partnership is coming. I know Sega's going through a rough time now, and I guess it would make more sense than ever to do that. But what are you guys thinking on this crazy? What do you call it? Conspiracy, I guess.
Honestly, I don't even think it's that crazy at this point. But I mean, there's still a hesitation there for me to think that this is something that will happen. But at the same time, like you said, like right now is probably a more possible time than ever for it to happen if they're having some troubles and stuff. Like that's kind of what happened with with Bethesda and stuff. Like they were doing fine and everything, but there was still some like some need for a better, more stable money flow to continue doing the things that they want to do. And so, I could definitely see it happening. But if it doesn't at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me either,
Yeah.
I don't think that anything's happening with this. Aaron Greenburg has been known to troll when it comes to things like this that are being talked about virally. Not that I don't think something is not going to happen with Sega. I mean, hey, I'm a fan of the Conspiracy Blue controller.
Got one.
If something does happen, I think it'll be a deal where like Sega Collection is added to Game Pass, like Sonic Adventure 2, Yakuza Like a Dragon. We've already got 3 or 4 of the Yakuza games on there. Like they clearly have a relationship with them, and Microsoft is trying to get a foothold in Japan. I think at one time maybe they were trying to get Sega, but after getting Bethesda, I mean, I don't expect another mega acquisition. At that point, you have a whole nother issue of, is the Japanese government even going to allow it to happen? Because they're a lot stricter than the U.S. is on acquisitions and such of that nature, creating a monopoly. And I think we'd have to have a very real conversation about, is Microsoft spending too much and buying too much for not enough return?
Right.
They want the Bethesda deal closed first before they eye another major one. But a Game Pass announcement, I could see coming in the next month or two. We know they're getting ready to announce the December games for Game Pass. So, I mean, you could see something as soon as next week.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
That big rumor, the big rumor for Game Pass next week is that Control is finally coming, but...
A year after Phil Spencer accidentally said it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny if they're like, you remember Sega TV? And then like every single Sega game that they have the rights to is backwards compatible for the in Game Pass.
I could see a very big announcement of like, hey, a bunch of these backwards compatible Sega titles are going to be on Game Pass now. I really think the biggest thing that they could announce though, because Corey, you know better than I do, but correct me if I'm wrong. Sega owns Altus, do they not?
They own Atlas, and which means Persona, which means Shin Megami Tensei, which means what else? Like it's PlayStation stuff like Dragon's Crown and Odin Sphere and stuff like that. So
my thinking is, we've been asking for Persona 5 to come to the Switch for years now. I've been one of those who's been asking for it. Started on my PS4, but that's the perfect kind of game that I could pick up, play like a half hour, and put it back down. It'll just take me like 5 years to get through it. And what if they somehow, because Persona is traditionally thought of as a PlayStation franchise. What if they made a deal a la Final Fantasy 13 to get Persona, a hypothetical Persona 6 on PS5 and Xbox Series X in the West on the same day? That would be big. I could see them trying something like that. They're doing it with Yakuza. I mean, Yakuza right now, the only way you can play the actual next-gen version of it is on Xbox. The PS5 patch won't come out until spring. Like, that's kind of bizarre to me that that's the game that they're doing it with, but okay, like...
Has anybody played Yakuza, by the way?
No, I guess I thought it was on Game Pass. I thought it was going to be on Game Pass originally, but yeah, no, I do want to play it.
They put a lot of the series on there, and I mean, that it's very realistic. They could be teasing that.
What, like 3, 4, and 5 finally coming over?
3, 4, and 5 could come over. I mean, I was going to say Like a Dragon. Like a Dragon could easily come in the spring.
Yeah. Like when that PS5 like the PS5 version comes out, they're like, hey, it's on Game Pass.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, because the whole thing is like Microsoft wants to be competitive in Japan, and I mean, frankly, they're doing somewhat better there than they did before. They sold 22,000 consoles. They sold out completely. Like, there's a lottery system going on in Japan right now for them. That's just kind of bizarre. But
to be fair, that bar's not very high.
It's not. But I mean, if you're trying to make inroads, you're not just, if you're getting Japanese companies on board, you're not just doing it for the Japan and the Korea market share. You're trying to do it for those people who, like, maybe they only buy a console because, like, oh, I want my JRPGs, and PlayStation is inarguable. PlayStation and Switch are the place to go for JRPGs. Xbox is not. Xbox is not what you think of when you think Western RPGs. You're like, oh yeah, Xbox. But JRPGs, not at all. what if you could be like, oh, well, if you're an RPG fanatic, if you like Western and Japanese, you can get all of that stuff, like minus maybe Final Fantasy 7-16 on Xbox now. Like that would be huge. It'd absolutely be. So I don't know. Right now I think this is a nothing burger.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
I don't see where. I don't think Sega's in a good enough spot unless it's an absolute desperation move for them to sell, which I guess is possible. I just don't see like a positive announcement around that happening.
yeah.
And I don't see that's also how they. I don't see that's the way that they go about doing it. I think their business would die off before they would sell at like a very, very desperate time.
Yeah, I could. The only thing I could see really is like a Game Pass announcement of like Josh said, like old games or the Yakuza games or
Partnership, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see stuff like Crazy Taxi and like some Dreamcast classics that were released on Xbox Live Arcade or the 360 and could make them way over to Game Pass or whatever. But all right, moving on. Speaking of bad news, Marvel's Avengers has failed to recoup its development costs so far. I mean, we kind of talked about that the last time we recorded, but it seems to be more, confirmed this time around.
Yeah. So it's only made 60% of its budget back, which is, I mean, to put this in perspective, this game is estimated after marketing costs to have cost them over $100 million to make. I do not understand how, hypothetically, I do not understand how an Avengers game at the height of the MCU's popularity in a year with no MCU movie or show somehow is not one of the biggest games of the year. We talked about this briefly on Boss Rush podcast a few weeks ago. I was on there with Jesse, Ed, and LaRon, and we were talking about games as a service in general. And this is yet another example of a game that did not need that model, and they shoved it in there anyways. This could have been such a cool game. Like that, it is still probably my favorite story in a game that I've experienced this year. Granted, disclaimer, I have not been able to play The Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima yet, but it is my favorite story I've been able to actually play this year. It is a love letter to 80 years of Marvel Comics. Kamala, a phenomenal character to tell that story through, but holy shit, the gameplay is so bland. Like, the combat is cool, but why am I just fighting robots, like, the entire time? Like, you couldn't even reskin the enemies a little bit? Like, why do I need a Destiny or a Borderlands-style loot system in an Avengers game? Why can I not just play as the Avengers with my friends and just run around? Like,
you don't.
Also, if you're gonna have 6 players in the Avengers, you might want to make it 6-player and not just 4. Just saying. I'm optimistic, I guess, about, maybe naively so, about the upcoming Kate Bishop and Clint Barton content packs, but holy shit, this game dropped down to like less than 1,000 players on Steam not even 2.5 weeks after launch. It was plagued by one of the worst launches for a games as a service title I've ever seen. And yeah, just dump Spider-Man for PlayStation and be done with it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that's like that kind of model of game just turns so many people off at this point. And if you want to like target the hardcore, MCU fans, you're gonna want to just make a really good game that's just based on story and not dealing with all that crap. Because honestly, that kind of game style doesn't really make any sense to me. Like how exactly, just the idea of finding better loot, like that does not make any sense in in that kind of setting, like that world.
If I can interrupt, I would argue that it absolutely does. I think it's all in the execution. If you think about like Iron Man 2, his whole thing is him trying to find this element and then crafting a new suit. That the whole every time they get new suits and they're going to search for something, like there is absolutely a path where this makes sense. Unfortunately, you can't do the detail that you need with enough stuff that way.
Yeah.
And also to keep it so that people are playing so much that I feel like that they're going to make their money back through either microtransactions or buying season passes and stuff like that. But I do think it works. I think they just took a core game, which is probably okay, and then tacked this thing in there in such a generic way that they're at odds with each other. And I think that the comic book community, I'm sorry, but even though it's a stereotype to know how like nerdy the Simpsons comic book guy is and stuff like that, like they can smell a rat, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not good. It's not cohesive. It doesn't feel like everything's happening in world. Like, I'm sorry, but like when I'm playing as the Hulk and I go and like literally kick open a fucking chest to like get a currency that I don't know what it is, not sure what it does, and then when I use it, I'm like, is this doing anything? I'm still playing like the exact same way as the Hulk. Like it just doesn't feel. It just doesn't feel like a comic book game. It feels like they've skinned it. I'm sorry, I said this before, but it feels like a mobile game.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
It looks better, and it plays playing with a controller, but it plays like one of those early mobile games.
Yeah.
This game makes me really question how much longer we're really going to have Square Enix West Division. Because they have now they labeled the Tomb Raider reboot that sold like 6 million copies a failure. They labeled that as a financial failure. I want you to let that sink in for a minute. How many games would kill to do 6 million copies that are non-sports games, non-franchise games? Right, so much so that Rise of the Tomb Raider was only made because they partnered with Microsoft, and we all saw the shitstorm Microsoft got for that one. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was made by a different studio because they decided that they were going to put Crystal Dynamics, which honestly is probably the best studio they could have put, onto Avengers. This game was probably rebooted once or twice in development. Deus Ex died for this. This makes me really worried about Outriders that's supposed to come out in February. They are trying another live service model game. Not 4 or 5 months.
Is it live service? I thought they said that that's more of like a Borderlands. There is a definitive end with expansion packs coming.
It is, but it isn't. It's got a definitive end, unlike Destiny, but I believe it is meant to also be live service.
I bet. I wonder if it's like
the messaging on that game has been so muddled, and it is another example. I mean, we're 2 months away from the launch of that game, and I still couldn't tell you the first thing what the fuck that game is about.
It looks cool. I think Outriders looks cool.
I absolutely want to play it because I like games like that. But when I can't even get into a looter game, that's where I start getting concerned about your business model. I think they just thought like, oh, we're going to walk in and Destiny got delayed. We're going to have the fall all to ourselves until that comes out. There's no Borderlands this year. We pushed back Outriders so it wasn't competing with our own game. We've got the Marvel license. We can just do this. The characters are just so bland. Like, that is the blandest Captain America and Tony Stark I think I've ever encountered. Like, I'm not expecting you to go out and get Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans for this, but holy God, you have some of the best voice actors on the planet voicing your characters, and it's that bad. And
you also have some of the deepest reference material and so many different artists of different things. Like it bothers me so much that they're like took the movies models of the Avengers and like, hey, we can't get the licensing or the actors for these, but let's make it as close as we can and make it like the weirdest uncanny valley that we've ever seen. Looks like he's in hockey pads. He looks like the fake Batman wearing hockey pads at the beginning of The Dark Knight. I think it's unfortunate because I think that when you make a looter shooter or a loot or a whatever we want to say, like a
schluter,
it's not really a shooter game, but it's definitely like I would say that most of these live service games revolve heavily around loot, and you have a game where you don't focus on the loot. It's weird. It feels weird. Like you could literally put where you find a piece of every one of like Tony Stark's Mark whatever Iron Man suits, and I would play that game infinitely just to get every build of every armor. And be like, you don't have to. I don't need to find this or that. I was like, let me find. Oh, I found the leg piece. Oh, I found an arm. I found this helmet piece, and then let me build every suit and give me Tony Stark's like room where you can see all the armors. Be like, look, I collected every single one. Like that's one character. You do that for every one. Come up with every version. Give me the original Captain America. Give me each version of Cap that I can go find, and you just separate out his armor. I don't need to be like, oh, I found enchanted bandages. They're not enchanted. I don't know what they are. I found rags when I was on Hulk, and I was like, what is this?
Or like upgrading his rib cages, like more ribs.
Oh, look at this! I took out 2. I lost Hulk for an hour. So,
when the outfits for MCU characters were better in Fortnite and more interesting to try to collect,
because they went with
then
an
you know
aesthetic.
you're doing something wrong.
But like,
Well, and so like there's a difference though. Like Fortnite clearly had the MCU, right?
but they also have an art style.
Yeah.
They had some.
They
really
have an
cool
actual
looking-
arts. Like here, they were caught between trying to make it look like a comic book and trying to make it look hyper realistic.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work that way. Combine that with the game takes so long to load all the time, even after performance patches. Like even on Series X, apparently it's still like close to a minute to load that game up, and it's just. In an era of games, like we were just talking about how much we've all enjoyed Destiny loading faster, I don't want to go back to a game that's going to take that long to load for something that it's already tedious. It took me 2 weeks to even be able to finish the campaign because I had a game-breaking bug. Every experience I've had with this game has been bad. Kamala and Natasha saved the campaign for me.
See, I had to stop playing because it hard crashed on me 3 times. Two times in one night. I was like, I can't do this until they fix it. Like I want to finish that story so bad because I was so like I was into it. Like I was into like playing as Kamala and seeing it from her point of view and like
it's great
bringing the Avengers back together for this crazy ending or whatever. I'm just like I can't do this if the game's gonna hard crash on me and like I start 3 checkpoints ago, like I'm not going to replay an hour and a half a game to have it crash on me again. I'm not. So I don't know. I was enjoying it. But I'm also disappointed by like just how many issues I had with it. So
yeah.
Anybody else got anything else to say about it?
No.
Okay.
I wish it was better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get upset if we keep talking about this game.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I
saw one of the collector's editions at Best Buy today, just like sitting there lonely, and I almost got it.
I want that Captain America statue.
That's why I almost got it, and I remembered all the crap that comes with it, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. So, all right, we're gonna move on here. Microsoft hints at turning Xbox into an app for your TV. How's everyone feel about it? Xbox app on their TV.
See this one coming?
Yeah.
Didn't we talk? If I have an Xbox app on my TV, then can I get the Apple TV app within the Xbox app?
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Appception.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, we kind of touched on this when we talked about the Samsung deal. I think we all expected to see this on Samsung TVs, and then with the announcement that at least in Europe, LG OLEDs are their official TV partner.
I think they are here too.
I wouldn't. Oh, okay. I wouldn't expect this. I would not be surprised to see this on LG, Samsung, and Vizio by the end of 2021. Phil's made it pretty clear that was going to be their next expansion. And hey, if you're still getting shut out of iOS and you're working on that web-based app and whatnot, like which I'm sure Apple is going to move to try and stop them and Amazon and Stadia from doing, like they want that sweet revenue. TV is the next best place to do it, I think. I personally thought Apple TV was going to be where they were going to go, and then, the whole iOS thing happened. Like, this is great. They're making it to where you don't have to buy a $500 box to get that experience. Here's the problem with putting this on all these devices, though. It's cool if you have that connection. If you have a gigabit line or something. If you don't have something that I would say 300 megabytes at the very least, you're screwed. That's going to chew your data up so fast. And in the United States, it is simply not feasible with how much power we give to ISPs. It's just not feasible right now. I get it. We're future planning here. We're future proofing. Like maybe 2-3 years from now, we'll have less restrictions. We'll revisit the net neutrality argument. But until that's done, you're simply not going to get the performance you could be getting. Like, And then the people who have that, it's like, well, we probably own the box. Why on earth do we need it? Like, it'd be great. It would have saved me from buying another console, but whatever. Like, that's change at this point.
Once Elon gets those satellites up for everyone,
they're up. But did you guys see that Comcast is going to start putting data caps on home internet?
Yeah.
Like
Comcast, and they're the ones trying to prevent Google Fiber from expanding also, because fiber is like $50 for unlimited internet at gigabit speeds.
That's how ours is. I think we pay, what do we pay? We get 100 down and 100 up, I think, no, we get more than that. I don't know. We get way more than that, I think, but we pay $50 a month, and we have fiber here, so it's real nice.
See, that's the thing, is one of the main things that's important for stream, like playing games on Game Pass or on xCloud and stuff, is like, this is one of the times where the upload speed really is important. And unfortunately, I think my upload is only like 10. My download's like 200, but where I'm at, like, upload speeds like are very, very low. It doesn't break much higher than, I think, 20 up, and that's like the most expensive version that you have to buy to get that. But yeah, so like that's the only thing that's kind of sucked for me, is like trying to play it on like connection at my house. Like it does fine, but there are times where it will have hiccups, but like, just because my upload speed isn't the greatest. So, but other than that, like, like if I'm playing on my phone, like off of the phone network outside, then it works fine. Or if I'm somewhere where I get a decent connection on my phone, it works fine. But there are times where, like, very time specific demanding games, it can be a little shoddy if I don't have a good connection, which sucks. But yeah, like I'm hoping 5G eventually will be at a point where it actually is promising what they're saying. But even right now, like, very few 5G connections actually do better than 4G. So, like, a lot of them are actually, the 5G aren't even as good as 4G. Like, I've watched videos of people doing showing the 5G connection and then showing their 4G, and their 4G just blows it out of the water, because it's not quite where it needs to be yet. So, so I think we're quite a ways away from being able to rely on that more too. So, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool, because then I can just put my console in the office and then just have the app on my TV and like a controller, and be like, oh, okay, well, I'll play something out here, I guess, for a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool for certain people. I don't know if it's going to be for people like us at all.
Yeah, it's going to be for bigger cities that it will be much more reliable, I think.
Yeah.
People that live in small apartments that, don't have enough room as it is to be having all this collected stuff.
Yeah.
It'll be nice for people like that, that won't have to have all these things to be able to do stuff that they want to do, for sure. So.
All right. Last story here. MechWarrior 5 will be arriving on Xbox in spring 2021. That's cool. I remember
nice.
What were the mech games on the original
Mech
Xbox?
Assault,
yeah,
baby.
Mech Assault were
yeah. Such good games.
I'm unreasonably excited about this.
Yeah.
Because Mech Assault comes from the Mech Warrior franchise, and I'm really, really, really excited. These are the first games coming to console, I believe, for it since Mech Assault. So bring it on, baby. I'm ready for this. Anything with big giant robots, I'll play it. That Exo Mecha game looks terrible, but I'm gonna play it. I can't wait.
You think they'll make an adapter for my Steel Battalion controller?
Just
Corey,
cut the end off and put a USB
Please
port
tell me
on
you
it.
actually have one of those.
I do. It's at my parents' house.
God, Corey, you are a god among men.
I know.
I love you right now.
Guess
I had
how?
one, I sold it.
Guess how many minutes I've played of Steel Battalion?
0.
Like 60.
Yeah, that's about right.
Corey, you should campaign for that game to be backwards compatible, and then ask them if they'll make that controller
right.
compatible for you.
Hashtag Steel Battalion for Series X.
Phil Spencer, I know you're
Yeah.
listening to this show now.
Phil,
We're gonna
buddy
need
pal.
you to do this. Guys, if you've never seen this Steel Battalion controller, I implore you all to pause this podcast and go Google
next
Steel
time I'm
Battalion
over there-
Xbox controller.
Next time I'm over at my parents' house, I'll take a picture and send it to you.
And I feel like if there was
An absurd thing I have ever seen.
I'll fleet it out for people
I hate you.
on my
feel
on my Twitter at I am Corey HT. I'll fleet it out for everybody. I'll play it.
Somebody stop. Somebody stop. Somebody get a hold of Corey's wife.
Fleet.
Somebody stop him.
You can fleet it.
the thing is too is like the those kind of games, like there's so many fun things that they could do with that. Like imagine if they would just like let you turn your tablets into like touch screen like buttons and stuff where you could actually like activate things by like use the controller or whatever to control things, but like be able to use like a tablet for like more like visual kind of like things, and like just do something cool with it that allows you to have a little bit more immersion, if you don't feel like buying like a big massive rig to be able to play it. Like I think they could do some fun stuff with games like that. Like, because that's what those are about. Those games are about just having this crazy, like, just tons of things that you can do, and like just really getting into the whole idea of these mechs and stuff. But
Yeah. Hope it's better than
it's exciting. I definitely will probably pick it up because I loved like those kind of games back in the day, and I think it was like Mech Assault on the regular Xbox or whatever, where it came with a disc that you could give to your friends, and then you could link your Xboxes together with just the LAN whatever line. And you could just play on two different TVs, and they didn't need to buy the game. You could just literally play 2-player with one copy of it. It was great.
I think Mech Assault was the first DLC that I ever purchased on Xbox. You could download new mechs. I don't know what they were called, assuming just mechs. But I remember you could download new ones, and I downloaded a couple of those. I think that was the first DLC that I ever downloaded. First direct connection, like you're talking, Jesse, that I ever played was Time Splitters via a crossover cable.
Nice.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
Time
think-
Splitters, that's a good one.
I think I did it with Command and Conquer too. I want to say Command and Conquer Red Alert or something like that. I forget what game it was, but one of the Command and Conquer games, I believe you could do that with as well. So
Man, to have a time machine. Now we do. It's an Xbox Series.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
more or less.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, I've been asking for Mech Assault for years to come back, and I get excited every time that it looks a mech game is being shown. The first time Titanfall got shown, I was like, "Oh my god, is this Mech Assault?" And it was not. It was something better. So, just God, please, Mech Warrior doesn't even have to be good. Just let me play it. Let me enjoy it. Let me play as a giant robot for like 6 hours to get my fix in for the next 10 years.
As long as it's better than that mech game that Ed was obsessed with on Switch for like a month and a half.
Even Ex Machina is a terrible game, and you should all feel bad if you like it.
I'm aware.
Every single one of you should feel bad if you played it and enjoyed it.
I'm
It's
aware.
bad.
I'm aware. I'm well
I don't even know
aware.
what it is.
It's,
You don't
it's
need
bad,
to.
Joe. It's bad.
They had
I'm not gonna
when
play
the
it.
when The Witcher came out, they had Witcher DLC for it, for a mech game.
That's gross.
Well, that makes sense,
Yeah.
right?
All these alerts are going off on my computer. USB device not recognized.
Oh, I was like,
Uh-oh.
that's Ed's music.
Do I sound all right? Do I look all right? Everything
Sound
okay?
fine.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
everything
that's fine.
seems fine.
That's your
Alright.
computer's version of stranger danger. USB not recognized.
Oh, I unplugged and my capture
Okay.
card is kind of hanging out at my feet right now. So, whoops. Sorry, everybody. All right, let's get into these questions. Remember, you can tweet at us at ArsenalXPodcast or email us at arsenalxpodcast@gmail.com to have your question read right here on this very show. This show, guys. Question will be read.
What show is that? Just kidding.
Are you lost, Jesse? Are you all right? Feeling all right? Sam Hall writes in and says, "Hey guys, I wonder what your thoughts on the looter shooter genre was.
Oh,
Is it-
no.
Is it dead? Is Destiny the king among peasants? What are some others that you have enjoyed? Thanks."
As far as looter games go, looter shooters, there's pretty clearly two at the front of the pack, and everybody else is miles behind them, and that's Destiny. I would say Destiny is first. In a lot of ways, Destiny is number one.
Destiny and Anthem.
Jesse,
I
you're
would say
fired. Go away.
it's definitely Destiny and Borderlands.
Yeah.
It's pretty inarguable. I think Borderlands does the loot a lot better. They lay it on you a lot thicker than Destiny does. There's more variety, things like that. But holy hell, Destiny outpaces it in every single other aspect. I think it's pretty clear why Destiny is the only. Again, touched on this on Boss Rush a few weeks ago. It's pretty clear why it's the only games as a service title that actually works, and that's because they not only deliver you addicting gameplay and a good gameplay loop. There's a really, really, really good narrative that goes along with this game and with this universe as well that really only a studio like Bungie is going to give you. Like, the gameplay of Borderlands, of what I've played of it, is fine, but I've never once cared about the story. Whereas Destiny, I'm playing for the story first and foremost.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, like Destiny has been in it for a long enough time that they've had the chance to get over all those kind of, beginner issues that you run into.
Well, we thought that, and then Destiny 2 came out.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it seems like they were able to right the ship a lot quicker.
Oh yeah,
than
I don't know. The token system still kind of sucks, but
I think that there's anybody that is a creative type, I think, has been in this position where you know what you want to do. Whether you're a musician, you're like you feel the song that you want to compose in your head, and you're just like, you kind of keep getting it wrong, and you keep trying notes until you get it right. And I think Destiny, and I would say more so, not saying Destiny, Bungie is a company that knew what they wanted to do. They just didn't quite know how to pave the way there, since they're really the only company that's doing like a game as a service looter shooter that's been, like, I would say, successful. And I think that they had a lot of obstacles in the way that I think they're pretty clear of now. And I think that's the main difference between Bungie and anybody else that's attempting it, is that somebody else goes into this and they're like, I want to make a looter shooter. And Destiny's like, we want to do this. And it's not that. I mean, yes, it is a looter shooter, but I think they more so want to tell a story that they find interesting. They have guns that, like, these guns, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? It's not necessarily about creating a looter shooter so much as it is combining all of these elements to create a new experience for people. And I think,
it's the arrangement.
That's the difference.
Yeah,
Correct.
It's like a song you said, like they have all the parts. They have the drums. They have the vocals. They have the leads and all that stuff. But it was just a matter of them figuring out how to arrange them and make them all work together. And and they're finally getting to a point where it's it's at a much better place than it was. But
And I think with all the other companies, I think they run into this point where it's like, okay, we've tried this now for a year, let's call it. And then they end it, or like it kind of like goes away a little. Like is Anthem still around? Is anyone playing that? Does that happen?
Let's look at a better example, like The Division. Like,
yeah,
that game. It checks all the right boxes. It plays well. It's fun to play. It's fun to play with your friends. Mm-hmm. The Warlords of New York expansion came out. I don't know anybody who played up to that point even.
Nope.
I tried to get back into it right before it came out because I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get excited about this because the game is fun. Like, it is a fun game to play. Loot fucking sucks. Like, there's like that again. Like, you run into the problem. It's like when you get into the loot,
it doesn't matter what kind of gun you use. It's just basically all SMGs fire the same, all shotties fire the same. I've never once cared. I look to see what color it is before I delete.
And the thing is too is like there's two things. One, they try to make a looter shooter in the quote unquote real world where like you've already set yourself limitations at that point where like you can't make cool or interesting like guns like Destiny can. You can't have superpowers like Destiny can, right? Like you can't have all these things. And two, it's like The Division is a Ubisoft game. And you said this like a month or two ago. You're like, it's really fun until it's not. And it doesn't matter if it's like 5 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours.
Every single Ubisoft game becomes the same game.
Uh-huh.
And it's never a really conscious or an anger thing. It's just the next time you go to play a game, you look at your screen, you can see it's the last one there, and you just move one over, and then eventually it just goes off the screen. Mm-hmm. Like you never delete it until like maybe you're purging or something like that. You're always maybe I'll go back to it, but it's just,
I will say in terms
something
of
better is a better option.
In terms of systems and mechanics, I think The Division came the closest, and by closest, I mean not close at all, to hitting the magic that Destiny and that Bungie had. Mm-hmm. Bungie took basically because Borderlands was already established by the time Destiny came out. Borderlands 2 was out, had been a big hit. Borderlands 1 had been a big hit. And Destiny basically took that, threw it online, gave you some insane superpowers, let you team up with your friends. And they did something we'd never seen before, a 6-player activity called a raid. They basically took a World of Warcraft raid and put it on consoles in an FPS. Mm-hmm. We'd never seen anything like this before. So not only did they innovate the genre there, it was really the first of its kind that was online for a console game. And they were the first ones, so everybody associates it with that. And then once it got fixed with Taken King, obviously, like Taken King and later Forsaken became the gold standards against which all else in this genre and this style of game gets graded against, however fair or unfair that is in terms of your narrative, your production design, your sound, your guns, your superpowers. Like Corey said, like I keep coming back to Avengers with this, and it's like. How on earth did you think that this product was going to compete in that space? Mm-hmm. Did you really think you were going to win over Destiny? Or hell, even Borderlands 3 players. Borderlands 3 had a new DLC this year. Like, how did you think you were going to win over either of those fan bases with this? Mm-hmm. Like, you had the opportunity. They have the superpowers, but they're just not cool.
You have to put in the time. You have to put in the time. Yeah. Like, think about anything. Whether like if anybody that's an aspiring streamer, they tell you the same thing. Anybody that's a content creator, someone that does video or movies or music, you have to just keep doing it. When you fail, like you learn something from failing, but that's where all the other companies give up. They're like, oh, it didn't work out. And then they just don't know what to do. They don't try.
Oh, the Ubisoft model can't work for this game. Yeah. We're going to give up and move to something else.
We need more beacons. We got to put some beacons.
This is your Spider-Man, or this is your Batman versus Superman for the Marvel. Like like I love DC, but some of those movies have just been exactly. I think the same issue is what happened with this Marvel game. Is that the right amount of detail and heart for the things that they were doing just didn't seem to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've even way back when like the Taken King and even Rise of Iron were coming out, I'm working on some personal stuff and I was going back through some old videos that we were doing like way back when. And one of the old podcasts I was a part of, it was all about like the looter shooter genre, and like I think we were talking about, it was like right when Overwatch was starting. It was before Overwatch came out, but we were talking about Overwatch, and we were talking about Battleborn, and I think it was either like Rise of Iron was
Battleborn.
Yeah, Rise of Iron was about to come out, and The Division was coming out, and it was funny because we were on that show. We were like, it was called like on a day when Overwatch, Battleborn, Destiny, and The Division are about to come out, Dark Souls wins or something, because Dark Souls 3 I think was coming out at the time, and I was like, man, that's still like super relevant today, where like, you know, Destiny's out and is kind of like the king, but like people are starting to spread out now into other things. And you know, kind of like Joe said, if you're not gonna like keep at it to fix it, then what is it even worth doing a games as a service thing? So,
and like I feel bad for anybody that's invested heavily into one of these looter shooters like Anthem and put maybe 1,000 hours in, and now just is like, now like
I want to meet that
promised guy. Man, do they exist? Does that person exist?
If you've played
Not
Anthem
even
for
I
longer
put that
than
much time in it.
if you've played
And I
Anthem
love
as long as we put into Destiny, please let us know. Right in.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
I want to know what other looter shooters you guys are playing other than Borderlands and Destiny, because honestly, like, I can't think of any.
No, there's not one, because every single one that comes out is just bad.
It's like
bad, or it's like in the case of the Division, like I had a great time playing Division 2 when I picked it up for $10, and it was a stopgap between Seasons and Destiny for me. I played it between Shadowkeep coming out and Season of Dawn's narrative content dropping. So like the 2-3 weeks after Christmas last year, had a great time playing it with our friend Ray. But once we beat the story, I was like, I literally never feel like I need to pick this game up again. I got through the story. I had a fun 30 hours. I got $10 worth out of it easily. I'll never buy one of these games for full price, and I simply am not going to invest the time needed to make a build in yet another game. There's just nobody does it like Destiny or like Borderlands.
Yeah, and
that's
Ghost,
why games fail.
I picked up Ghost Recon for like super cheap. And talk about, that seemed like a step backwards from Division. Like I don't know what happened with that game, but it didn't look good. It didn't play great.
Which game?
I don't know.
Ghost Recon.
The Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon's been bad for a while now.
I think
God,
the last time
I couldn't believe it.
the last time I enjoyed Ghost Recon was Future Soldier on 360.
Yeah, Future
Advanced
Soldier was
Fighter
fun.
1 in the launch window of the 360 was the last time I liked Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
I was 14 at the time.
All right, we're going to move on to our last question. We're running a little bit short on time here. Mark Dreschen says, hey guys, found your show about a month ago, and I got to say, you all have a great show. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'd like to ask, what are some upcoming games for Series X you all are excited for? Which ones do you think will hit best? Thanks. Man, I would have to pull up a list of like upcoming games. I mean, unless he's talking about like everything that's been announced, like Fable and Hellblade are two that I'm like really looking forward to. But
yeah, I was just saying, I'm going to take this to mean exclusives, because things that you can only get on Series X. I mean, Halo Infinite's absolutely at the top of the list.
Yeah.
I think. For all of us, I think Halo
Yeah.
Infinite. Halo and Fable are always going to be big hits. I can't quite agree on Hellblade because I haven't played the first one yet. I have it downloaded, but I just have never. I know.
It'll take you.
Downloaded, I just haven't touched it.
It'll take you one long day to beat.
Yeah, and you could even 100% it easily.
I'll get
it's a
to,
very
again,
easy
it's-
100%.
It's one of those I'll get to it eventually games.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, that's how it was
but-
for me.
To go off the beaten path of our established franchises that we know are always going to perform well, your Halo, your Gears, your Forzas, your Fables, I would say Avowed.
Okay.
I think Avowed is going to be a much bigger game than a lot of us are giving it credit for, even though it is set in the Pillars of Eternity universe. It is the kind of Skyrim answer that Microsoft was looking for, and then they went out and bought Bethesda. So if we're going to include Bethesda games,
well,
Elder
we can say
Scrolls 6,
we can definitely say
Starfield.
We can definitely say that Avowed is coming way before Elder Scrolls 6. I'm sure we can just put that right
Which
down.
is fine. I think that's what they plan on doing is they can kind of have them make their game and then the Elder Scrolls game come out it'll buy time for them to kind of give each other the time that they need.
It's an interesting predicament that Microsoft has now, because you have 3 games that are set in like that kind of like medieval fantasy genre between Avowed, Elder Scrolls 6, and Fable, and potentially all coming out within about 24 months of each other. That's kind of hilarious to me. But yeah, I think those are my answers. If I had another one and I really thought about it, it would be the rumors that I've heard around Compulsion's game. I'm really excited for what I've been hearing, the rumblings of that they're making a BioShock-esque game over there. I think that would be really, really cool as an exclusive. But I want to hear what you guys think.
Mine's pretty easy. Mine's pretty easy. Like I'm really, aside from all the things that we obviously all are just kind of given, I'm still really excited about Medium. Like that's a game that's just right up my alley. The idea of kind of almost, Silent Hill-esque kind of game with some really neat like features of being able to be in a world simultaneously, in the real world and this like spiritual world on screen at the same time is going to be it's just going to be a really cool feature to, kind of, like something that could have been done on PC, before, but for it to be done on console is definitely going to be new, like a newer thing. That story and everything that we've seen of it, just really, I find it really fascinating and interesting. Like I can't wait to learn like what exactly is going on in that story. And I'm not normally a person who really is really super big into stories. A lot of the time, if you give me a really, really good gameplay, I don't care. I can like take or leave the story. I'm very, very different in that way than most people, I feel like. But like Watch Dogs Legions, like I'm absolutely loving that game, and the fact that it doesn't have a great story does not bother me in the slightest, because I'm having too much fun just playing it, But yeah, the medium for me has been one that I've really been excited for since we first got to see anything on it. So that's the one for me right now that I'm looking forward to.
I'm waiting on Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe's just in a holding pattern constantly.
I mean, I'm fine. I have Destiny that I've been playing, and I will continue to play. Cyberpunk is going to get me probably the rest of the way.
Cyberpunk, baby.
Yeah.
It's time.
Latest rumors are that Halo's hitting between March and June. So
that lines up with what a lot of us were saying back when the delay happened, though.
Yeah, they need about another 6 months or so.
I had it pegged for mid to late April, which I still think it's out before E3 still, personally.
Come out on March 24th, my birthday. It'll be a nice birthday gift from Microsoft.
They're going to release it on March 25th just because you said that, Jesse.
It's kind of nice because since it didn't come out this year and the console came out, I still took a few days off, and my vacation days will reset for the next year. I'll be able to take probably a good couple days off for Halo, but that's in reality, like, as much as I used to be a guy that would play a ton of games, I would play a game and 100% it and then just like blow through again. I am not that person anymore. I dive into like 2 or 3 games really deep, and then I just live there as long as I can. And I feel like I'm just waiting for Halo to come out so that I can replace probably Call of Duty in my repertoire of like what I'm playing regularly, and then just like dive into like unlocking and getting all the achievements. Oh man, starting from scratch with 0 achievements in a Halo game, that'd be so weird. I'm excited. That's really. I hate to say that that's what I bought this Xbox for, but that's what I bought this Xbox for.
I mean, that's fair. We all bought it for something, right?
It's very true.
I bought it for Gears Tactics, which I still only played the first level of.
I should play that.
I
sometime.
love that game.
I'm kidding myself. I'll never play it, but I would like to play it. I haven't finished Gears 5. I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, Fable, I think it might be the big one for me. Also, Josh, speaking of Avowed, I need to go back and finish the Outer Worlds. That's the one I truly want to finish. But, man, I don't know, man. I guess Hellblade and Fable are like the two that I'm really, really looking forward to. So, I don't really know how much there is to say on that, except for I want to know how Playground is doing that. Uh-oh, Josh is gone. Oh, no. We have a... That's all right. Everything still worked out because, I don't know, somehow it just works on the screen that I have up. So, anyways, that's kind of it. That's kind of all I have to say about it. So, Hellblade looks great, though, by the way.
It does look good.
Hey, Josh. Welcome back.
He's back.
I think he's still frozen, though.
Yeah, kind of.
Which is hilarious.
Must have hit one of those data caps.
Yeah. That first speed bump of a data cap. He played too much Destiny. Now he's getting hit with it. So, but anyways, anybody else want to hit it on anything before we get out of here? I think we kind of hit it all.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm also looking forward to the full version of Grounded being released. I don't talk about it a whole lot, but I do jump into Grounded here still, and here and there, and I really do like that world that they have in that. For what it is, it's a really fun game.
Yeah. So, you all right there, Josh? You good?
Yeah, my internet dropped. It's the same thing that happened during the raid race. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
At least it only happened once during the raid.
It happened. Oh God. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. What were you gonna say, Josh? Before Jesse started, what were you gonna say? It's good to what?
Oh, I had nothing. I had nothing else.
Joe,
I don't remember.
Joe, what were you gonna say?
I'm good.
Oh, I thought you were trying to say something when Jesse kind of went on about Grounded.
Enough time has passed that my goldfish brain has forgotten.
You forgot. You said it's good to. You said it's good to.
I was gonna. Thank you. That actually worked. I was gonna say it feels good to be back and do a podcast again.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I know. It's been like this whole week. I was like, I had this like really weird revelation of like, man, it feels good to just sit down and like play games and not have to edit or work on anything. And then yesterday, I was like bouncing, like when I think I have to do something, I start like bouncing my knee up and down while I'm sitting there. I'm like, I need a podcast or do something. And like, I was thinking about like, and like, I started getting like all my personal stuff ready to go for other things that I would like to work on someday, maybe if it ever happens. And, yeah, it just feels good to be sitting in this chair again because my computer has literally not been on for a week. So, anyways, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to Arsenal X. You can find it on your podcast service of choice. Please like, subscribe, share, rate, and review our show. Those good reviews and ratings help us a lot. So, you can follow us on Twitter at Arsenal X Podcast. You can email the show at arsenalxpodcast@gmail.com. Josh, where can we find you?
As always, you can find me on Thursday nights on Boss Rush Games. It's Towers Casuals. Tower Casuals podcast, all about Destiny. Corey and I have some fun lore corners coming up. We have some stuff to talk about regarding the season. I'm going to keep talking about the Deepstone Crypt. And then, as always, on Twitter and Twitch, at Josh_Finn with 2 N's. We're playing through Gears 5 this week. And then we're gearing up for Cyberpunk, baby. It's time. It's becoming a Cyberpunk-only stream.
Make sure you turn off that takedown music.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah. So I am like, I'm happy for that. Like, side tangent, I'm happy that that's a feature, but also like, could you guys not work with like Twitch and YouTube Gaming to avoid the DMCA's in the first place?
Yeah,
Right.
wouldn't it be nice to be able to play the game and stream it at the same time the way
Yeah,
that it's intended?
that's the argument I saw, is that people who stream the entirety of the game, like I'm planning to, are going to have an inferior experience with it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, for me, like, I'm going to have my Spotify piping through my headphones anyways, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad that even me who, streams occasionally, I've been having to keep on thinking in the back of my head, oh yeah, I better turn the music off in this game because...
Yeah.
Side note, a better feature would be if it would just mute the music through HDMI but played it through your headphones.
Yeah.
Or
So you could
Or
send
just not capture it.
Twitch is owned by Amazon. They could incorporate their Amazon Music licenses into Twitch and just be okay with it.
I know, that's exactly what I thought. Is why isn't Amazon Music just a thing in Twitch?
Yeah. Joe, where can we find you?
check those show notes for all the weird ways I spell Colonel Panic, but mostly on Twitter.
Yes. Jesse, wow.
Yeah, you can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS. I've got a song that reached number 1 on a chart, for what it's worth. It's on soundclick.com, so it's nothing that like most people have probably even heard of, but it was cool. I mean, it was cool though. They give you, when you join for free. They give you a free promotion where you can pick one song to promote, and then it, like, depending on how many people like it or listen to it or whatever, or voted on it, then you can get put on a top 10 thing. And I was at second place for most of the time, but it did reach first place at one point.
Nice.
So, but yeah, it's cool.
You can find me at I'm CoreyHD on Twitter and Instagram and Xbox. I'm gonna try to start streaming next week at some point, I'm thinking. So you can check me out at CoreyHD on Twitch. Yeah, you can go everywhere on BossRushGames.com and check out the rest of our content and everything. Follow us on Twitter at ArsenalX Podcast. Man, I feel like it's been a while since I've done this outro. Thank everybody so much for watching and or listening. And until next week, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, bro.